Going to shift gears and shift centuries a little bit. We have Salvatore, and I didn't know who Salvatore Tabone was until about 2 days ago, because he's been Chomp Tabone to everybody that's ever known. One of the great families in LeRoy that have more nicknames than they do regular names. He was a three-sport star. He graduated in 1956, a halfback in football, a third baseman, center fielder in baseball, and guard in basketball. On the gridiron in his junior season, Tabone led a defensive effort to beat the arch rival Batavia 18-6. As a senior, he scored 3 touchdowns as the Oatka Knights beat Batavia 31-12. Now, there's a little sidebar story there. As we all know, we really love Batavia sports. He had 250 yards in 3 quarters. How about that guy? 250 yards in 3 quarters. But somebody, Don Hoare, picked up the phone, called Coach Bell and said, "Get him out of the game. We don't want to embarrass Batavia." Should have got rid of Don Hoare that day, but that's another story. He was also part of a famous win where there was 3 Hall of Famers on this play. That's why I bring it up. Donnie Palladino, you'll hear about in a minute. Satchel Gene, who's already in the Hall of Fame, and Chom. They ran the old hook and ladder. Chom scored from about 35 yards out, and that's one of the more famous plays they were all involved in. He also played semi-pro football for LeRoy from 1958 to 1966. That's a lot of punishment on a little body like his. During his senior year on the hardwood in basketball, he led the team to the sectional tournament for the first time in 10 years. Well, he also played semi-pro baseball from the end of his sophomore year until 1965, with a 2-year hiatus while serving in the United States Army, where he also played some sports in Europe. We won't tell anybody what the other sports he played in Europe were. But I know John. He was a recipient of the Babe Ruth Award in his senior year for Outstanding Athlete. You know, as he got older, he went on and played softball. And if you were ever up at Kidney Park, that old sucker, he could get to first base faster than anybody in the league, whether how old they were, how young they were. He took the Rapones and ran them into the ground, hitting the first base when he was 40-something years old. Absolutely, right around there. He's not a Minnesota. When he got done with softball, he took up golf. And I was either fortunate or unfortunate enough to play with him many times. He always took my money. He was very glad and good to do that. But every time he teed off on the first hole, he ran down the fairway. He couldn't stop running. 60 years old, 58, whatever the hell he was. Run down the fairway. Go to the second hole, you run down the fairway. Are you ready? Danny Horgan? Well, I figured the reason he was running was to get away from pictures like this and the ridiculous colors that he was wearing. You get up here, you can see what they are, but there's something about Chomp Tabone and powder blue that makes me wake up in the middle of the night. That's his brother Tony pinning the boutonniere on, too. Without any further ado, a great athlete, great guy. Even though he lives in Batavia now, he's still a great LeRoy, Hall of Famer, Chomp Tabone.
I want to thank Jim for all of that. Some of that stuff I don't remember, but you have to forgive me for that. Good morning. What a glorious day it is, and I hope you enjoyed the refreshments. I thought I ate a little bit too much myself. Along life's journey, I have achieved many fulfilling accomplishments. Not as important to another individual, but important to me. Today's recognition humbled me and has meaning beyond words. And someday along my journey, you all have been an important part of my life. And I am sincerely thankful for that. Growing up, I never dreamed when I was younger that I would be standing in front of you talking about being inducted to the LeRoy Hall of Fame. At this time, I would like to thank the Board of Directors for bestowing on me this honor, and also congratulate the other inductees. I'd like to share with you a short story of Mr. Rogers doesn't mind. If Mr. Rogers doesn't mind. Growing up, we played the old football field and the playgrounds. Russell, Satchel, Gene, and Donnie Palladino were 2 guys I grew up with. Donnie, who will be inducted today along with me, and Satch was in the 2014 induction. It is highly unusual that the three of us would have this honor bestowed upon us. At age 10 and 11, Satch was on the right side, Donnie was the quarterback when we lined up on offense. I had 6 years to what we were then on the varsity. And when I broke the huddle, Satch was on my right, Donnie was the quarterback. We played a lot of years together in all three sports. And it brought back memories of us playing together for so many years. We also shared basketball and baseball achievements together. May they rest in peace. I share my accolades with three brothers, Joe, Charlie, and Tony, who also played for the LeRoy football team, baseball, and basketball. I tell my wife, these golden years. And my wife would always have an answer for any statement that I made in that area. Because when I was in the service, we used to have practices in the field with weapons. And you'd always hear now and then, incoming, incoming. And that told you to hit the ground. Something was coming at you. Well, that stuck with me a long time. I tell my wife, these golden years. And as soon as that went off, the back of my head and the brain says, incoming, incoming, incoming. And I looked at her and I said, what's the problem? She says, you don't have to worry about the golden years. And I kind of smiled and I said, boy, I got a compliment coming. And then they say, they are your platinum years that you're in now. Leave it to a wife, it's always there. And then actually she'll say something like, throw the garbage out and water my flower. So now instead of being young and agile, I find myself dealing with the reality of consequences of what's before you. Daily utilizing of ice packs and numerous trips to our family chiropractor. In closing, I would like to thank you all for attending, and God bless you all. And to my mom and dad, my siblings, Bill, Don, Lena, Joe, Sarah, Tab, and Tony, and my relatives, friends that have gone before me, who could not take part in this momentous occasion. You are forever in my heart. God bless, and thanks for your attention. Thank you.